Does it end here? Here's what's coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
It's all about keeping your kids and everyone safe at schools. The town of Fort Mill and the Fort Mill District are implementing a new traffic enforcement program to improve safety around schools. What it is and what it means, we'll have details coming up.
The long-awaited I-45 express lanes are set to open tomorrow between South Charlotte and Matthews. Coming up, what drivers need to know before they set out on those lanes.
Mecklenburg County political leaders on both sides eyeing North Carolina's open Senate seat.
Well, I think the future of the Democratic Party itself hinges on North Carolina.
It is a must-win seat at all costs.
Why Tuesday's race is set to have national consequences.
And with bigger tax refunds this year, scammers are trying to get in on the action.
How to protect yourself so you're not left asking, where's the money? Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
All right, good Friday morning, everyone. This is what your morning commute looks like. Not too bad out there near Woodlawn. Roads are definitely wet, and that's going to be the name of the game for a while. Remember some of the heaviest pockets of rain south of Rock Hill, and the one thing that you need to know, it's just our newest crash, but we don't have any significant delays. East Boulevard at Camden Road, we're watching that, and also watching a couple of other accidents that I'll be following for you on WCNC Plus. Chris, we're ready for a great weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, today overall is going to be cloudy, morning rain. There is the slightest hope for maybe a brighter overcast sky by the end of the day. But the upper 60s, upper 70s, Monday, Tuesday, forget about it. Then we have Wednesday and Thursday. But look at this. Back to back to back to back to back days. I could have said 5 days in a row in the 70s. Enjoy it, and don't forget that we are springing forward. That is a nice looking forecast all the way up.
It really is.
Chris currently writing sick notes for you on Monday.
I'll do it.
Considering how good Sunday looks.
All right, folks, make sure you join us on WCNC Plus, streaming live starting at 7. Have a great day.
Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off with a check of your forecast on this Friday morning. A few sprinkles out there, but the real issue is the fog.
Yeah, and look at these visibilities and look at the Queen City. You can't see anything. Now, our visibilities have mainly been below a mile over the last 3 hours, and what you just saw there on the screen was an active raindrop catching a little bit of light from our tower. And our highs today will be in the mid-50s, and our highs so far today are mainly in the mid-50s, so that really says something, right? So what I'm really proving here is we've already hit our high for the day, and we will potentially revisit it for the afternoon. Lower to the mid-50s is the best way to describe our high temperature range today, because check it out. We're going to drop down into the lower 50s over the next couple of hours as we start nudging some slightly cooler air back to the mid-50s, but staying cloudy for the most part. I'm an optimist by nature, so I will say that there are some signs that you could have a brighter overcast sky or a few bright spots. We did have that yesterday, but all in all, the clouds are going to win out, and the rain is definitely here for at least half of the day. Very light, though. Then heading into the weekend, we start to clear out, and then everything is just fantastic for our weekend forecast. So what's happening is we have a front that's actively shifting to the south. So we're still going to keep the rain around, but that's going to start to pull things down. But we still have enough ample moisture that you're going to see that's right around here that'll move back in. So especially along the I-85 corridor, we're going to have some lingering rain, some mist, drizzle, fog, all the lighter precipitation variations that you can imagine. So I think the best way to really describe it's just going to be damp and misty through the rest of this morning. That heavier rain clears out. It's especially been heavy down towards the south. We'll still see a shot at some lighter rain right here around lunchtime. And then for the rest of the day, I think a spotty sprinkle, an overcast sky, and then maybe a brighter overcast to end the day. Here's Saturday morning, though. I'm just worried that people are going to say, Chris, you said it was going to be beautiful. Well, I also have to let you know there is an asterisk for your Saturday. We start off cloudy, and then before you know it, we got sunshine and a beautiful afternoon for your Saturday. Going forward, look at this. Upper 60s, upper 70s. That's fantastic. Now, the problem is we're going to drop down. So what we see here for our 7-day forecast is we have the upper 60s, the upper 70s, in the 50s today, and then we're either side of 50 degrees. By the way, during this stretch, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a cold air dam, and that is going to keep the clouds, the mist, the rain around, some fog also as well. Temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer through the overnight, so we're only dropping down to the upper 30s. Could be some freezing points up in the mountains, but doesn't really look to be any big problems. Then we have the lower to the mid 70s. The next chance for rain after the very weaker rain chances on Monday and Tuesday will be Thursday heading into next Friday. And then we have the 70s start and they don't end, at least on the 10-day forecast. Lower to the mid 70s win out, but even the upper 70s on Friday and Saturday. What's really interesting about this forecast, one, you have that spinning clock, meaning that we're springing forward, but then also those 20% are representing a chance for maybe even a pop-up storm. 'Tis the season, right? Also, next week, just letting you know, it is Severe Weather Preparedness Week. We're going to have a different way that you can stay prepared for this severe weather season each day next week. But of course, we have to put that on the back burner because we have to talk about our morning commute, because whenever it's damp like this, it's never great. So Majestic has an update to start off the 7.
All right, let's do it. Good Friday morning, everyone. While area roadways are damp, we still have some rain showers, a little fog. It's not the most beautiful Friday, but at least we don't have any huge concerns out there. Pockets shaded in orange, that's where we have the densest fog, especially as we're looking south of Charlotte, Lancaster, out towards Charlotte. That's where we have some of the heaviest rain. So watch for ponding out on the roads. Just slow it down, drive for the conditions, because some of you won't have any issues driving this morning. Other parts of our viewing area, you may have such a hard time seeing because of that fog. Once we're looking at 485, the entire loop, I'm not seeing anything too problematic. We actually still have a ton of green out there. Green is a good sign. One thing to mention, though, is this crash. It has been ongoing for over 30 minutes. It's on Pence Road at Heatherwood Lane. It's right there in the intersection, and you can see the yellow there, meaning that there will be some small impacts. Another one here, it's on West 4th Street at Johnson and Wales Road. Not seeing big concerns, but again, those are the two active things that I'm following for you right now. This is I-77 as we're looking at a bit of a slowdown. This is just our normal traffic, not seeing any problems there, even if you're coming in from York County. Heading into I-85 from Salisbury out towards Concord, we have green, but that's where we start to see more of that fog thicken, especially in areas shaded in orange right here from Hickory to Lincolnton, even through parts of really areas west of Gastonia. That's where it's going to be a little concerning when it comes to reduced visibility. We'll have another check coming up soon.
Thanks. Well, after years of close calls and a tragic loss, Fort Mill leaders say real changes are coming to make school zones there safer.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning in Fort Mill to explain how the city and the school district are seeking solutions to protect crossing guards, students, and parents.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. Good Friday morning, folks on the Plus. I wish I had a brighter day to show you what I'm talking about, but more eyes protecting folks, especially our children, as they make their way to and from school is part of that plan to keep kids safe. Now, it's a new traffic enforcement officer program. It'll place 2 dedicated officers from the Fort Mill Police Department in school zones during the busiest times of the day, morning drop-off and afternoon pickup. It'll also place officers that during the school events. Leaders say commuter traffic often mixes school traffic, creating dangerous conditions for students, parents, and crossing guards. Safety concerns intensified after a crossing guard was killed last year near an elementary school, you may remember. Officers say the goal is prevention, improving traffic flow, adding accountability, and giving families some peace of mind. More crossing guards and new traffic signals near schools are also planned as part of a long-term push to keep our school zones safer for everyone.
We really want those on the roadways as well as parents to have a little bit more peace of mind when they're dropping their kids off at school, when they're picking those kids up.
Cars come through here that have nothing to do with our schools on a regular basis, especially if there's an accident on I-77, we see increased traffic. This is basically adding dedicated officers where we've been filling these positions with off-duty officers in the meantime.
Yeah, and they say that is so important to have those dedicated officers so that folks know, because a lot of times people who go through those school zones may not know that they're going through a school zone. So they're also working on traffic lights. Also, hopefully they'll have all of this implemented by the start of next school year. We're right here in Fort Mill. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, thank you. Big news for Charlotte drivers. The new I-485 express lanes are set to open tomorrow. NCDOT officials will officially cut the ribbon this morning on the project. It aims to improve travel reliability and reduce congestion. Now, this is some video of the construction. It's been ongoing since 2019. And coming up at 7:30, our Destiny Richards is going to be live in Ballantyne this morning to break down how this change could affect your morning commute.
Right now, the Catawba County Sheriff's Office is facing a lawsuit from a former deputy claiming she was forced to resign. Victoria Jolly says the Sheriff's Office targeted her and tried to ruin her law enforcement career. She claims they retaliated against her, questioned her credibility, and misused internal investigations. She says things got worse after she reported inappropriate messages from a male deputy and again after she suffered a concussion on duty. A spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office says the agency cannot comment on pending lawsuits.
Right now, investigators are working to find the cause of a fire in Alexander County. It happened before 8 o'clock Thursday morning on Mickey Hager MHP Drive that's just down the street from Stony Point Elementary School. Firefighters found 64-year-old Sandy Duke inside the home. Duke died at the scene. This morning, questions remain about a house fire in the Steel Creek area that left a family searching for a new home. Neighbors say this isn't the first time that home caught on fire. However, the recent fire sent 2 firefighters to the hospital after part of the home collapsed, trapping those firefighters for a while. Both are expected to be okay. Take a look at this video. This is from a neighbor's Ring camera. It shows the fire there. Look at the top right side of your screen. The neighbor says the homeowner was getting his family out of that home and had to jump from the 2nd floor. Now, when that house caught on fire, neighbors immediately helped get others out of their homes, fearing that those flames would spread.
All I can remember hearing is the mom holding her babies saying, "Can't do this again. We don't deserve to go through this again." And it's not fair. Like, they're good people. Like, those little girls are amazing little girls. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Officials are still investigating the cause of that fire.
7:09 right now on WCNC Plus. Memorial services have begun for Reverend Jesse Jackson. We take a look at the one happening in Chicago.
It has now been, actually we'll get to that in just a moment. This is actually for our Black History Month story of the day, but we want to talk about Nancy Guthrie because it's now been 27 days since Nancy Guthrie disappeared. Thursday, a few vehicles were seen coming and going from her home, though they did not appear to be connected to the investigation into her disappearance. According to federal sources, investigators are now preparing to return the property to the Guthrie family as part of the next steps in this case. Officials say it is normal in criminal investigations to transition the property back to the family once it is no longer needed as a crime scene. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton told the House Oversight Committee that she has no information about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
And today in New York, former President Bill Clinton will give testimony to members of Congress under subpoena for the first time ever for a former president. NBC's Alice Barr has details of today's deposition.
In a first-of-its-kind move today, former President Bill Clinton set to answer questions from lawmakers under subpoena in the House Oversight Committee's Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The committee chair promising a longer deposition today.
We have a lot more questions for Bill Clinton
than the 6 hours former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton sat for on Thursday.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance.
Neither Clinton has been accused of wrongdoing, but the questioning comes after former President Clinton's photo and name appeared multiple times in the Justice Department's released Epstein files. The former president has said he cut ties with Epstein before learning of any of his crimes.
I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light.
Democrats saying Hillary Clinton answered openly as Republicans assert they at times
weren't satisfied with answers.
Democrats now arguing the committee has set a new precedent
about talking to presidents and former presidents. And we're demanding immediately that we ask President Trump to testify.
Republicans making that appear unlikely.
President Trump has answered hundreds, if not thousands, of questions from you all about Epstein.
As the Epstein controversy hits a new marker today. The committee chair said one thing he's seeking from former President Clinton is insight into how Epstein managed to surround himself with such powerful people. The Clintons wanted their depositions to be open to the public and the media. The chair has promised to release transcripts and videos as soon as possible. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
In Chicago, the celebration of life began Thursday for civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson. A large crowd of family and friends and supporters turned out at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters as the first of a series of memorial services got underway. The Jackson family has expressed that this is a moment for Americans to come together.
Our family is overwhelmed and overjoyed by the amazing amount of support to lay down some of the political rhetoric and to lay down some of the division that deeply divides our country, and to reflect upon a man who brought people together.
Attendees reflected on Jackson's lifetime of advocacy, his enduring message of unity, and the hope he inspired across generations. He'll lie in repose in Chicago until tomorrow.
The Chicago Bears from Illinois to Indiana are a step closer to a possible move from Illinois to Indiana. Tuesday, the Indiana House passed a bill to create a stadium authority, helping secure financing to build a stadium in the city of Hammond. That's about 30 minutes outside Chicago. The Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority will be able to issue bonds, buy land, and bankroll the construction. Indiana state leaders say the Bears would commit $2 billion toward the stadium project and mixed-use development if this deal goes through. Now, up in Massachusetts, take a look at this. The National Guard is now lending a hand to help clear the snow there. We may remember we told you 30 to 40 inches of snow fell across the state at the beginning of the week. Days later, some people are still digging out. From one end of Massachusetts to the other, residents are opening up their roads and neighborhoods while members of the Massachusetts National Guard continue to help with medical emergencies.
Things are starting to look a little bit better here. We got warm weather moving in, and some pretty significant clearance has helped open up a lot of the roads.
It's a big undertaking. It's the most snow we've got. I was around for 78, when we got whatever it was, around 30 inches. But this was a lot more.
Well, local officials say the heavy snow packed roads and it strained plow crews and first responders during one of the busiest weeks.
All right, well, this isn't necessarily great. So our top allergens right now, cedar, elm, we have juniper, alder, and then there's one mysterious tree pollen that I need to let you know is back. And I'm gonna let you know why it's not a great thing that this one is here. I'll see you after the break. Okay, everyone watching, raise your hand if you're already suffering from tree pollen or just allergies in general. I am not, but I am here to be the messenger for all of those. I've researched this a lot, and I'm just letting you know. I had a tease. I said, what is the mysterious one that popped up for the first time? It's pine. Guess what pine does? Pine is the notorious, really culprit for that yellow stuff that covers our cars, our front porches, everything. Luckily, I have a yellow house, as I say, so you don't notice as much, but I have a white car, so I have yellow on yellow pretty much. It's all yellow. We are at a medium level for mold. That often happens after you get some rain, so some people are allergic to mold spores. Technically, usually during the winter time, people are like, oh, I still have allergies. That might be mold, so something to look into. But the top allergens are juniper, alder, cedar, elm, and now pine is the first one that's really starting to pop up. So quick little pollen IQ. Pine pollen is more visible, and that's usually what's covering everything. And it's because the grains are much larger than, say, the hardwood trees like a maple tree. Now, some of these can still contribute to some of the yellow, but the reason why we're so notorious here is because of the pines here in North Carolina. Not to get too numbery on you, but we could have up to 0.1 millimeters is the size of pine pollen. Meanwhile, oak is only about 0.03. So that's the big difference here. So that's why most likely when everything is covered in yellow, it is likely the pine pollen. So these values are going to continue to go up. In history's past, it's usually the beginning of March that we start getting up to these medium to high levels. Well, we've already been doing this for the past week. We started this in the middle of February. So letting you know, plain and simple, that we're going to continue to see this increase in general. So even though we have pine that's popping up, it's not one of the big three. The big three is cedar, elm, and alder, but that is going to change. Even with all the rain that we have, I think you still have enough to bring this up to a medium high level, but it really starts to thrive by the end of the weekend. Because the reason why we're getting so warm on your Sunday with high temperatures in the upper 70s is because of that strong wind out of the southwest. And strong winds are the biggest culprit for blowing this all around. So what I'm really saying, plain and simple, if you're going to take anything from this, the way things are shaping up, we might be in the next 2 to best case scenario 3 weeks before everything really starts getting covered in that yellow stuff. And then it's absolutely covered heading into early April, where we usually hit our peak. One last little nugget for you. We'll get to our full forecast and the update at the top of the next hour. But this morning's sunrise time was officially at 6:56. Since we're officially springing forward, we are going to be, of course, an hour later. But it's not until April 11th that we get back to the sunrise time. So just note, we only have one more week until we're officially springing forward in the beginning of daylight saving time. All right, transitioning from all those factoids over to our morning commute with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday to you. Let's get a look at those roads. This is what your morning commute is going to look like. Again, not the most beautiful start to a Friday, but boy, we'll sure make up for it as we're heading into our Saturday and Sunday. This is Clanton I-77. Not seeing any issues. It is just damp out there. Here's a new crash just coming into our inbox. It's eastbound Charlottetown Ave just after Kenilworth. You can see a couple of cars involved there blocking one of the lanes. Not seeing huge delays, but that's what's going on there. This one is an injury incident outbound lanes at Park Road and Archdale Drive. You can see multiple cars involved in that one. Once we switch it over to my map, this is the one that I just mentioned there on Park Road. So even though there are a couple of cars involved with that, I'm not seeing huge delays. Once we're heading up to the north just a bit, here's something. This is on Pence Road at Heatherwood Lane. This has been ongoing for a while. It's still not cleared, and I'm seeing indications shown in that yellow that traffic is being impacted by that. Not huge delays, but just something to look out for if you're heading out and you typically take Pence Road. Guys.
And check this out. Burger King adding a new high-tech helper to its kitchens named Patty. Patty is an AI assistant living in employees' headsets.
Patty's job helping staff remember menu items, alert managers to missing orders, and even give a nudge when it's time to sprinkle in a friendly welcome or thank you. Now, the AI isn't here to score workers or to force scripts. It's more like a digital coach cheering everyone on. Right now, Patty is testing her skills in 500 restaurants with plans to roll out to more Burger King locations across the U.S. by the end of the year. With a little help from AI, fast food service is getting smarter and maybe a bit friendlier.
I feel like that's straight from Burger King's PR department.
You think?
And I wonder if the workers are going to love Patty so much. You know, they'll be saying her name under their breath.
Now Patty's here.
Thanks, Patty. All right, live pictures right now over Uptown. And folks, this is all we got for you. This is a live picture, actually, because it's that foggy. It is that cloudy outside. So a word of warning as you head out the door this morning. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Who's ready for the weekend? We're not there yet, but we have some low visibility, some rain here and there. Check it out, Goose Egg right now in Jefferson, in less than a mile. We've been there for 4 hours around Charlotte, but the heaviest rain has been down towards the south. Still some mist, drizzle, light rain all over the place. Not a beautiful morning whatsoever. This eventually is going to kick its way down towards the south, though. Winds are activated as well, which is starting to break up some of that fog, so it's mainly just a damp morning. High temperatures today in the mid-60s. Guess what? We already hit that temperature, so we'll revisit the mid-50s, really the lower to the mid-50s throughout the day today. Drier for the afternoon, but then here's the treat. This is where we all can get excited. The upper 60s tomorrow, 77 on Sunday. We cool down a little bit. Don't worry about that. Back to the 70s before you know it on Wednesday. All right, damp morning that can affect your morning commute. Majestic tells you how.
All right, let's get to a good morning, everyone. Make sure you're just taking it easy out there this morning because, yes, roads are wet. I'm following all of these crashes this morning on WCNC Plus from 7 to 9 o'clock this morning. But something to know about right now is right here on Park Road, southbound lanes at Archdale Drive. There's a crash there. This is a picture that we just got into our inbox involving multiple cars as it is slowing down traffic. Another one is going to be right here on Charlottetown Ave.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Friday. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. If you're just now waking up and joining us, thanks for being here. And also, it's a foggy, rainy morning out there, Chris.
Yeah, not beautiful whatsoever. There's not really a lot of nice words described today. And even though we're getting rain, it's not helping us out all that much. Now, some areas have seen a little bit more down in Lancaster, and 53 degrees the current temperature right now in Charlotte. Name dropping you again, Lancaster right now at 57, 47 in Statesville. A very cold rain for you up in Boone, but mainly it's just mist and fog for you. Most of the rain is down here. That's around the I-85 corridor, and it's primarily in South Carolina that we have those heavier showers. That's about another hour and a half that we're going to have all this jazz, but then we still have a lot of mist, drizzle, sprinkles, light rain that are all around. So as I've been saying, it's pretty much every word that we have for light precipitation we have this morning. Now by the afternoon, things get a little bit better. Still think we have a chance for a few showers to linger right around lunchtime. By the middle of the afternoon, I think it's just plain old cloudy. Temperatures only getting into the mid-50s. The outside chance that we get a little bit brighter to end the day. And then I think we're going to have a drier evening. By Saturday morning, we do have a good amount of clouds. I think we're going to have some fog as well. We had a decent amount of rain that sometimes you have back-to-back mornings of fog, so that's going to be the right scenario. So you might be waking up saying, oh, it's not a nice day. It will get there, because check it out. Before you know it, oh, we got sunshine heading into the afternoon. We should be bright most of the day. The wind's really starting to blow now, and they're going to be shifting out of the southwest. That's our friendly direction. They'll warm us up. Best chances for rain, I really think, are now until about 1. After that, most likely dry with a chance of a sprinkle. Temperatures only in the lower to the mid 50s. That's where you direct our attention to a much better weekend. The upper 40s are going to be with us tonight, heading into tomorrow, right when the sun's rising up. Lower to the mid 40s. Tuesday has the coolest day of the week, and then the weekend, oh, this is good. By the way, March officially starts on Sunday, and the first 3 days of March are split on what month it wants to be. It's actually a little bit more February-like for day 2 and 3, but meanwhile, it's almost more April-like for Sunday. So we have either side of 50 degrees on Monday and Tuesday. Monday's going to have a case of the Mondays. It's going to be another day kind of like what we have today. You have a chance for some light rain. Clouds are sticking around. It's a cold start to your Tuesday, but then Wednesday, the sun comes back out. We again shift out of the southwest, lower to the mid 70s, and guess what? The 70s stick around heading into the first weekend of March. So rejoice, everybody. Those cooler temperatures are actually less of a majority over the next 10 days compared to the upper 60s and the 70s. So good news. All right. Hopefully we have some decent news for our morning commute. Actually hasn't been too bad considering.
Yeah, definitely. Usually when we have, weather elements like rain or fog, typically it's really busy in the traffic department, and today it hasn't been all that bad. So fingers crossed we can keep it that way. Here's what we have right now. This is I-77 coming in from South Carolina, York County specifically. You can see raindrops still popping up on some of those cameras. You can tell the roads are wet. It's kind of just a gloomy start to our Friday, but I'm not seeing any traffic impacts there. Meanwhile, we switch it to I-77 out near LaSalle. Similar setup, traffic getting busy, especially inbound lanes there. My map, also a handful of ongoing problems. This crash here definitely has my attention. Park Road, southbound lane specifically at Archdale Road, that's where we do have a crash. There's a picture of it just coming into my inbox not too long ago. You can see at least 2 cars involved. One of the cars up on the sidewalk there. This is an injury incident, so we'll continue to keep you up to date there. Medics did respond to that again, outbound lanes at Park Road and Archdale Drive. Another thing that I'm watching for your Friday morning commute is this right here. We're still seeing delays with it. Charlottetown Ave eastbound at Kenilworth Ave to get onto basically the I-277 ramp. Here's another picture that just came into me not too long ago. You can see a few cars are involved in this. I don't have any reports of any injuries, but we'll let you know once both of those are cleared. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. 7:34 now. This time tomorrow, the long-anticipated I-485 express lanes will open to traffic here in Charlotte. This project creating an extra lane in each direction between I-77 and Independence Boulevard. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning for us. She is in Ballantyne. So, Destiny, walk us through some of the changes that drivers will notice. A lot of people use 485.
That's right. The biggest thing to know is that your commute between South Charlotte and Matthews is going to get a lot easier because you'll start to see on-ramps like this with a lane to get onto the express lane. Now, there are cones blocking it off for now, but not for long. Construction is finally done, but those new express lanes are set to open tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So that means the black tarps that we've been seeing on these signs are finally coming down. Those electronic boards are going to be switched on, and you won't be dealing with that construction that we've been dealing with for months. These new express lanes stretch 18 miles from I-77 to US 74, that is Independence, and are designed to cut down on travel times. NCDOT says just like with other lanes, how much you pay will depend on your vehicle length, your time of day, and the day of the week that you're heading on the lanes. Within the first year, the lanes will shift to dynamic pricing, meaning rates will change based on traffic levels with the goal of keeping cars moving at least 45 miles per hour. And drivers with an NC Quick Pass will save about 50%, while those without one will have to pay more. So yeah, even just driving here to Ballantyne this morning, getting on I-77 south from Woodlawn, exiting onto Johnston here, you could see those express lanes off on the side that you can enter just like you would on I-77, but of course those cones blocking it off until early tomorrow morning. Today, though, NCDOT and the North Carolina Turnpike Authority, they're joining state and local leaders to commemorate the opening of these lanes. That's happening at 10 o'clock this morning. We'll be sure to be there. But again, don't worry, those lanes are opening, just not until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Valentine.
All right, Dusty, thank you. You and your neighbors can now apply for major state grants that would pay for things like bike paths, sidewalks, and local connections to transit. NCDOT accepting applications for the 2026 Multimodal Planning Grant Program. One local nonprofit, Sustain Charlotte, says this is a good thing, especially for some of the smaller communities out there. But they also say it's an important opportunity for state leaders to make roads safer for everybody.
Doing the same of what we've been doing is not working. And we're growing. And when you have all of that, you can't be doing the same thing you've been doing and expecting it to change things.
Applications for the grant program are open through April 13th.
Recently obtained court documents are shedding some light on what could have led to a school bus crash 2 weeks ago in Gastonia. You may remember this one. 48 students and the school bus driver were on this bus when it crashed near Jenkins Road. The bus driver told police a child stood up and distracted her, causing her to lose control. That's when she says the bus went off the road and crashed into the trees. 14 children were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. There have been no charges in this crash. 4 men convicted of operating a drug ring in York County have learned their fate. All 4 pleaded guilty to drug distribution charges. They will spend more than 7 years in prison. Federal investigators say officials confiscated more than 26 pounds of meth and 22 pounds of fentanyl as a part of the operation they were running. And in hours, protesters are planning to gather uptown outside a local developer's office. Indivisible Charlotte posted on social media they are planning a protest outside Crescent Community's headquarters. They claim the developer is looking to sell a Concord property to the Department of Homeland Security for an ICE detention center. Crescent Communities tells us it currently has no lease, agreement, proposed or future plans with DHS, ICE, or any other federal agency at its Concord property. Also adding, while it respects the right to protest, the underlying claim prompting this demonstration is inaccurate.
Mecklenburg County political leaders say they are ready for Tuesday's primary. Both Democrats and Republicans eyeing a Senate seat that has national consequences. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay breaks down everything you need to know.
Former Governor Roy Cooper and former RNC Chair Michael Whatley. Those are the 2 frontrunners on Tuesday's tickets vying to represent North Carolina in the U.S. Senate. After Republican Tom Tillis says he's not running again. This will be one of the most watched races in the country because this may be the Democrats' best chance to flip a seat and gain some ground in Congress. Cooper served as the state's attorney general and governor and has never lost a statewide race. We spoke with Mecklenburg County Democrats Chair Wesley Harris. This is what he had to say.
Well, I think the future of the Democratic Party itself hinges on North Carolina because strategies that work in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia don't work in North Carolina because we simply don't have the urban population that those states do.
But Republicans are standing their ground, saying Cooper has never been in a difficult statewide race. Whatley, on the other hand, has the endorsement of President Donald Trump, who has won North Carolina in the last 3 presidential elections. We spoke with the Mecklenburg County GOP chair. This is what he had to say.
It is a must-win seat at all costs. If Cooper was to win the open Senate seat, it would be a catastrophe for not only Republicans, but North Carolinians in general.
Julie and I also spoke with Chris Cooper. He's a politics professor at Western Carolina. You can catch our Flashpoint primary preview Monday, 9 a.m. right here on WCNC+.
The Carolina Panthers are teaming up with local Planet Fitness clubs to boost youth wellness in Gastonia. Today, they will unveil enhanced strength and cardio spaces at the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Gaston and the Bradley Teen Center. The workout areas feature new fitness equipment that's donated by Planet Fitness. Certified trainers will be on site to show the students how to use that equipment.
Happening today, the Rock Hill community honoring an icon. The Welcome Center at Northwestern High School will now be named for the Samuel Foster Welcome Center. It's in honor of Samuel Foster Sr., who was the school's first principal. In 1971, he became the first African-American principal of a fully integrated public high school in the state. Today's ceremony is set for 11 a.m.
Some people are concerned about what's in their food and water. Find out what a new survey says they want the government to do about it. 7:43 now. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is voicing some concern over more than 40,000 Gourmet 6-quart pressure cookers linked to serious burn risks. They're saying the lids can pop open while still pressurized, spraying hot food, and at least 5 people have been injured already. The agency says the float valve is hard to see and the pot's volume markings are wrong, which could lead to overfilling. Owners are being told to stop using those cookers and throw them away. Regulators say Gourmet and Best Buy haven't agreed to an acceptable recall. Most American adults worry that their food and water could expose them to toxic chemicals. That's according to a new survey of 5,000 adults. This was conducted by the Pew Charitable Trust. About 5 in 6 of those participating said they'd like the government to do more to protect them. That desire crosses party lines and ages. The survey is part of Pew's new Safer Chemicals project.
With the recent deaths of actor James Van Der Beek sparking a crowdsourcing campaign to pay for his medical bills and support his family, the topic of medical debt really coming up front and center for a lot of Americans. Lee Waldman tells us how significant the problem really is.
We found that the majority of Americans, both Republicans and Democrats, have identified the high cost of healthcare as a very important issue for them. In a lot of cases, actually the top issue.
The rising cost of healthcare is top of mind for many Americans. President Donald Trump spent a few minutes of his State of the Union speech addressing it.
I want to stop all payments to big insurance companies and instead give that money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care, which will be better health care at a much lower cost.
Millions of Americans may be paying more for insurance coverage in 2026 after the Affordable Care Act's enhanced premium subsidies ended in 2025. Dr. Lynn Cotter, a senior researcher with KFF, says people will be forced to make tough choices.
Hard decisions about how to spend their hard-earned money, and it doesn't always end up with them going with medical care.
As healthcare costs rise, more Americans are accruing debt associated with it. 41% of adults are saddled with medical bills they cannot pay, according to KFF's most recent available data. The issue came front and center with the recent death of actor James Van Der Beek. Fans have raised more than $2.7 million to help care for his family and pay off medical debt associated with his cancer battle. Cotter says many who are facing cancer battles are looking to crowdsourcing for help.
I think their healthcare is expensive and there isn't an easy solution.
In New York,
Christina Applegate, the actress, opening up about her battle with multiple sclerosis, a disease that attacks the central nervous system. She told People magazine that she now spends much of her day in bed, except when taking her daughter to school. Applegate revealed her diagnosis about 5-6 years ago and says it has changed how she approaches daily life. Her memoir, You with Sad Eyes, coming out March 3rd, so just a few days from now, next week, covers her childhood, her rise to fame in the show Married with Children, and life beyond the spotlight.
This week is Eating Disorders Awareness Week. It's a time to spotlight the impact of conditions like anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating.
Experts say eating disorders affect millions of people of all ages, genders, and backgrounds, yet many go undiagnosed or untreated. The week encourages education, open conversations, and early intervention to support those struggling. Advocates also highlight the importance of mental health resources and breaking the stigma around those who need help. If you suspect a loved one has an unhealthy eating pattern, encourage them to seek out resources and opportunities they can get help.
Tomorrow is World Rare Disease Day. It's a day dedicated to raising awareness for the millions of people living with rare conditions. Rare diseases are often difficult to diagnose and treat, and many patients face some unique medical, social, and financial challenges. The day encourages research, education, and support for patients and their families impacted by these conditions. It's also a reminder that even rare conditions deserve recognition, understanding, and compassion. There are 1 in 10 Americans who have a rare disease.
All right, 7:48 right now here on WCNC Plus. Live pictures right now. This is I-77 near LaSalle, about a mile north of Uptown. You can see roads are wet out there. Fog also an issue. Majestic, she's standing by with a look at your Friday morning traffic impact forecast up next.
Before we get to our forecast, check out this incredible video. So this is over in California. 2 men are being credited with saving a skier's life after he was buried in deep snow, what appeared to be an avalanche. This actually happened around Tahoe on February 18th. So Carson Smith and his friend had just arrived for their first run of the day when they discovered him trapped. So the skier was unresponsive and blue, but they managed to free him so that he could ski with his wife. It's not known how he ended up buried in the snow, but that's one big problem that we've been seeing a lot over there. A lot of avalanches, one of the biggest dangers that we always have, especially the higher the mountains go up. Our monthly averages, and Majestic actually has a weather IQ coming up on this in the next like 10 days or so, but it's the windiest time of year, and we actually just updated this for 2025, that March, just by 0.1, edges out April for the windiest month of the year, where it's really February, March, and April that we have those big swings. I won't take up any time and take away. Majestic will explain again in about 10 days or so. Maybe it's 11. I haven't counted. All right, so our winds today, not really a big deal. So this one's not really reaching that end of February to March criteria. Instead, we have the word variable. Variable means that it is changing throughout the day. And we're going to have some wind gusts, I think, up to about 20 miles per hour. I'm already seeing it. The flag is parallel to the ground, meaning that we have at least a strong enough wind over 10 miles per hour. We'll continue to see winds out of the southeast, eventually out of the southwest, as they start to change out of a westerly direction throughout the day. So not really impacting us too much, but regardless, because of the cloud cover, we are going to stay in the lower to the mid 50s today. Our futurecast winds heading into the weekend. I'm showing you these because this is the one thing, I know a lot of us use our apps, this is the one thing that people overlook in the forecast. Even us here as forecasters, I always try to bring up the winds to you, because you could look at the 7 day, I was like, wow, it's going to be a beautiful day, and it's super windy, and then all of a sudden that kind of takes some things away from you. That's not the case for your Saturday. Instead, wind should be below 10 miles per hour most of the day, occasional gusts up to 15, and your Sunday, we're seeing signs that maybe gusts up to about 15 to 20, but it's a nice warmer direction. It shouldn't be a big deal. Your 10-day forecast, well, you got this big U that interrupted our momentum. 50s, 60s, 70s, 40s, 50s, and then we have an epic run of 70s. That's right, March is doing March things. Even the upper 70s back-to-back days. And since we're already calling upper 70s right now, if this continues to trend upwards, we could be talking about our first 80-degree day of the year. Ooh. And as far as our lows are concerned, mainly in the 40s. We should be in the upper 30s still this time of year, so we only have really one average day. That's on Tuesday before we see a nice little comeback back into the 50s and the 60s. But rain-wise, we have a little bit this morning that's affecting your morning commute. Majestic has more.
It's a busy one, that's for sure. Heading into our Friday morning now. It is 7:53 out the door. You may have to go. Look at those icons. Never a good sign when we see them, because it simply means something is going on. Let's break down a couple that I'm watching for you. This one here just popping up minutes ago. LaSalle Street at I-77, seeing a little bit of slow-moving traffic, but I switched it over to my camera. I'm not seeing huge delays for that area specifically. You can see cars are moving slowly, but other than that, not seeing anything too concerning. Another thing, though, that has not been cleared is this here. Remember, this is Park Road. It's those southbound lanes that are being impacted at Archdale Drive. There's that picture. This is now reported as an injury incident outbound at Park Road. You can see a couple of cars involved. One of the cars right there turned backwards on the sidewalk. Medics did respond to this one. As we're also looking here, this one is also bringing in some delays. You can see the yellow there. Charlottetown Ave at Kenilworth Ave. That's where this crash is ongoing. A picture that we just received not too long ago, still not cleared, may slow you down just a few minutes.
Majestic, thanks. East Tennessee Children's Hospital in Knoxville getting a special new name, the Dolly Parton Children's Hospital. The announcement came Thursday in a video message from Dolly, who praised the hospital's doctors, nurses, and volunteers. Hospital leaders say the name change reflects Parton's support and strengthens their mission to provide top-tier pediatric care for folks there in East Tennessee.
All right, 7:55 now. We are going to take a quick break. Hey, things are improving. Look at this. Earlier, you couldn't see any of the skyline, but now you can see the tops of a few buildings there. It is still a very foggy start to your Friday morning. We'll be back with a check of your weather and traffic coming up.
Hey, good to see you. Who's ready for the weekend? Because today is not really motivational. It's a damp start to the day. We've had some on and off fog. Now, the worst of the fog right now is now up into the mountains. Visibilities are now drivable around the Queen City. The heaviest rain has been down towards the south. We've got at least about another hour or two southeast of Charlotte of this rain. And then we're starting to see a gentle shift. And that's why the winds are really starting to blow now. Windiest part of the day, wettest part of the day will be the morning. Temperatures will try to rebound back to about 56 degrees for the afternoon, but looks like clouds are going to win out today. 7-day forecast looking good. Upper 60s, upper 70s Saturday and Sunday. Then we have a big dip. But then check this out. Our extended forecast, we have the 70s taking over for 5 straight days, Wednesday through the first weekend of March. All right, let's march over to traffic, see what's going on.
Off we go. Good Friday morning, everyone. We are getting really close to at least a beautiful weekend. Not so beautiful now, though, as you're heading out the door. Lots of accidents ongoing. By the way, I am following all of these on WCNC Plus. As we're looking here, LaSalle Street at I-77, there is a crash. Traffic is starting to slow down just a bit, but lanes aren't completely stopped at this point. And then this is an injury incident just off of Park Road. Southbound lanes are being impacted right there at Archdale Drive. Again, take it easy as those roads are wet for your Friday morning commute.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. on a Friday right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington.
Well, after years of close calls and a tragic loss, Fort Mill leaders say real changes are coming to their school zones to make them safer.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning in Fort Mill to explain how the city and school district are seeking solutions to protect crossing guards, students, and parents. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. Good Friday morning, folks on the Plus. With all of the growth here in Fort Mill, there's a lot of congestion, a lot more cars on the road. That means a lot more cars going through school zones, and that means a lot more opportunities for trouble when kids are walking through those school zones or people are trying to keep our kids safe through those school zones. Now, Fort Mill leaders have a new traffic enforcement officer program in place that'll keep 2 dedicated officers from the Fort Mill Police Department in those school zones during the busiest times of the day, the morning drop-off and afternoon pickup. And also they'll have them there during school events. Now, leaders say commuter traffic often mixes with school traffic, creating dangerous conditions for students, parents, and of course crossing guards. You may remember safety concerns intensified after a crossing guard was killed last year near an elementary school here in Fort Mill. Officials say the goal is prevention. to improve traffic flow, add accountability, and give families peace of mind. More crossing guards and a new traffic signal near schools are also planned as part of a long-term push to keep school zones safer for everyone.
We really want those on the roadways as well as parents to have a little bit more peace of mind when they're dropping their kids off at school, when they're picking those kids up.
Cars come through here that have nothing to do with our schools on a regular basis, especially if there's an accident on I-77, we see increased traffic. This is basically adding dedicated officers where we've been filling these positions with off-duty officers in the meantime.
And they say they plan to make this whole thing happen by the start of next school year, this fall. We're right here in Fort Mill. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks. Big news for Charlotte drivers. The new I-485 express lanes are set to open tomorrow. Later this morning, NCDOT will officially cut the ribbon on this project, which aims to improve travel reliability and to reduce congestion. Now, this is some video from that construction. It's been ongoing since 2019. We're talking almost 7 years now. Coming up at 8:30 this morning, our Destiny Richards is going to be live in Ballantyne to break down how this could change your morning commute.
Right now, the Catawba County Sheriff's Office is facing a lawsuit from a former deputy claiming she was forced to resign. Victoria Jolly says the Sheriff's Office targeted her, tried to ruin her career. She claims they retaliated against her, questioned her credibility, misused internal investigations. She says things got worse after she reported an inappropriate message from a male deputy, and again after she suffered a concussion on duty. A spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office says the agency cannot comment on pending lawsuits.
Investigators are working to find the cause behind the fire in Alexander County. It started around 8 o'clock Thursday morning on Mickey Hager MHP Drive that's just down the street from Stony Point Elementary School. Firefighters found 64-year-old Sandy Duke inside the home. Duke died at the scene. And this morning, questions remain about a house fire in the Steel Creek area that left a family searching for a new home. Neighbors say this isn't the first time that home caught on fire. In the recent fire, 2 firefighters were taken to the hospital after part of the home collapsed. Those firefighters were trapped for a while. Both are expected to be okay. Take a look at this video. This is from a neighbor's Ring camera capturing those flames. Look on the top right side of your screen there. The neighbor says the homeowner was getting his family out and had to jump from the 2nd floor. When that house caught on fire, neighbors immediately helped to get people out of the nearby homes, fearing those flames would spread.
All I can remember hearing is the mom holding her babies saying, "Can't do this again. We don't deserve to go through this again." And it's not fair. Like, they're good people. Like, those little girls are amazing little girls. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Officials are still investigating the cause of that fire. All right, 8:04, now let's check back in with Chris with what's in store for the weekend.
Spring weather, and guess what? We officially turn over to meteorological spring this coming Sunday. And this Sunday, we're hitting 77 degrees. So it actually feels more like May 1st compared to what we have for March 1st. That's how warm we're going to be. And then once you end the month of May, the 80s really start to take over. But the 70s are thriving and surviving on that 10-day forecast. I'll get to that in a sec. Just letting you know, we are closing our meteorological winter record books December, January, and February. I'm going to tell you how we fare coming up the next half hour. So our current visibility is not good for the mountains, but you actually have better visibilities than the rest of the area. Now we're starting to see that fog break up, and this is usually the time that it does it, but especially we're going to start to see a lot better between about 9 and 11. But we're still dealing with some light rain, mist, drizzle. Some of that fog is fleeting, and the heaviest rain is down here. Eventually, that is going to push its way further off towards the east. High temperatures today, as I mentioned, only in the mid-50s, but right now we're in the lower 50s, and we already hit 56 degrees today. I just think that we're going to see it again later on this afternoon. So we'll have a chance at right around the end of the afternoon, likely staying cloudy most of the day. You're also seeing an active flag in the background. I think likely that wind is going to get a little bit lighter as we head into the afternoon as well. Then we start to shift our focus to a really good looking forecast. The whole reason why we're even seeing this rain is because of a front. That front has now moved its way to the south, so that's why we're going to get further and further from that lift, which is going to dry us out eventually. So starting our future cast, it's lining up for what's happening right now. That's always the first step when I'm choosing what model to use. It lingers that rain around for the near term. Then we start to see a breakup of this right after lunchtime. So just like yesterday, we saw this as well. There was a final batch of showers in the early to mid-afternoon. I think it's early afternoon that's going to be a final batch of any accumulating rain. Then any of this that you're seeing here would just be barely a mist sitting on the windshield wipers. All in all, looking to be a cloudy day. I think the best case scenario is it gets to be a brighter cloudy sky. So that just means that, hey, it gets a little bit brighter, but you're not seeing that blue sky. Then once we head into tomorrow, we're playing a game of patience, because tomorrow morning when you wake up, when the sun rises up officially at 6:55, you're dealing with clouds, you're dealing with fog. But before you know it, the sun is going to come out for the afternoon, and it really turns out to be a beautiful day. And then we add a few more clouds in the back end of the weekend. But 68 degrees for tomorrow. That sunshine really makes up for the lost time for the cloudier start. And then boom, up to 77 degrees on Sunday. And as I mentioned, that is 2 months early, because typically it's May 1st that we hit that temperature. So 7-day forecast shows that we see the up and then the immediate down. We can't have nice things. Monday has the case of the Mondays. It will likely kind of be like what we have here today, seeing maybe some mist and drizzle from place to place, a chance for a rain shower. That also lingers into your Tuesday, but then after that, right back to lower to the mid 70s, and the 70s really take over the extended forecast into the first weekend of March. Let's get over to Majestic. So starting off the 8 o'clock hour, what has changed?
All right, good morning, everyone. Well, no big changes, which is good. I want to still show you a few things that I definitely have been watching over the last several hours. Here's my map. I want to take you just north of Uptown. This is on LaSalle Street at I-77. It's an ongoing accident. We have a little bit of yellow popping up on my map. Here's the closest camera to it. You can see cars are flowing okay, so I'm really not seeing any big delays with that. Next up, though, we're following Park Road at Archdale Drive. That's where we do have an injury incident. It's on the outbound lanes there at Park Road. You can see a couple of cars involved there. The medic did respond to this. One of the cars up on the sidewalk, they're even turned around. So yes, we'll keep following that, but I am definitely seeing some delays there. Charlottetown Ave at Kenilworth Ave is another one. Again, here's a picture of that. A couple of cars involved there. Not hearing of any injuries with that ongoing site. But then Tyvola Road, this is one of the newer ones right off of Yorkmont. That is where we do have a crash right there at the intersection. Just plan on a couple of extra minutes if you typically drive that way. Ben.
8:09 right now. As we had a break, here's an exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that make life a little bit better. And listen, we all have some kind of muscle soreness for one reason or another. So let me introduce you to this. This is the Pure Sonic Massage Gun. Love this so much. So easy to operate. Turn it here in the back, and it comes in 6 different settings depending on the intensity level that you want. But even better than that, it comes with these 4 different heads here. You have this one kind of fork shaped for your neck, also a flat one, and also a round ball. But this is the one I love. They call it the Bullet because it really does target a specific spot. And for these knots next to my shoulder blade, I can't tell you how good it feels. You're really getting kind of a professional level massage from the comfort of your own home. Doesn't get better than that whatsoever. And then here you have another machine gun. This is the 6-speed, but this one right here, this is the 9-speed. You turn it on right here, and what this is really good for larger areas like your legs or even your lower back, just like this, which feels so good. Again, you can regulate the intensity, and this particular gun also works on your feet, which is so great. It really does feel good, just like you're getting a professional massage, but without all that expense, which is so nice. So here's the deal here. On the 6-speed, you're getting 36% off, cost you $44.99. On the 9-speed, 29% off, it'll cost you $49.99. Just scan that QR code or go to ShopTVDeals.com. You're gonna love this thing.
The time is now 8:13. As we wrap up Black History Month, we want to continue highlighting people and groups that are significant to the Queen City's Black history.
That's why we welcome Ms. Valeda Fullwood, founder and project director of the new generation of African-American philanthropists out there, also known as NGAP philanthropists, as I should say, a group who is actually celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good
morning.
Take us back, say, 20 years. What inspired you to start this group?
Yeah, I didn't start it alone. There were 17 founding members, and it was just an opportunity to elevate the presence of Black givers in our community and our traditions of giving. And we wanted to give back to the community and have an impact. And so that's what brought us together.
And so we know that people often don't like to brag on themselves or their organizations, but I think this is important when you're talking about philanthropy and giving back to help the community. So tell us about what's happened over the 20 years, how you've influenced some of the culture here in Charlotte.
Certainly. One, we introduced the language and concept of Black philanthropy. Folks often mention African American giving, but there is a thing called Black philanthropy, and it's based on a set of values and history.
Seems we lost Ms. Fullwood. There you go.
Wealth was extracted, so.
All right, we missed just a little bit of what you're talking there, but I think we're getting the general idea. There's also, you're talking about Black philanthropy, there's also a Black Philanthropy Month, takes place in August, and your group, NGAP, has been a key part of that celebration. Are there plans to expand or say evolve the way the month is recognized going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's ever evolving. It's now a global celebration around Black traditions of giving in all its forms. So folks in Canada, folks in Brazil, folks on the African continent, folks in the UK, across the US, in the Caribbean celebrate Black Philanthropy Month, lifting up stories of our ancestors and elders that gave back. Highlighting Black futures and the impact the next generation of givers can have on our communities.
So to that end, I understand that you are developing a new trust. You're now going into your third decade. Tell us about that.
Certainly. So after 20 years, we really recognize we've had a lot of impact through our grant making, through our ideas and innovation, through our convening and connecting folks in the community. And we want to have even greater impact and sustain it beyond 20 years and beyond the current makeup of our circle. So the new trust is an evolution for NGAP to bring infrastructure, paid staff, technology, greater financial capital to have an impact on our community.
And there might be some people...
For generations to come, I should emphasize that. So we're not just looking at today, but really looking how we can establish something, build on the last 20 years to create something that can have intergenerational impact.
So give us an idea. Some people might be hearing about this for the first time. What are ways that you're planning to celebrate this 20-year milestone with folks in the community, and how can they take part?
Wow. I would just say stay tuned. There are a whole host of ways. One will be reflecting on our impact over the last 20 years over the Black-led and Black-founded nonprofits serving our communities that we've supported and partnered with over the years. We're planning to have a big fundraiser this summer called the Cookout. We did one 2 years ago where we have chefs come in and prepare upscale versions of Southern Cookout classics. And so we're on track to do that in June. And then this fall, as a way to bond, we're going to make a bus trip, our Platinum Pilgrimage, Alabama social justice bus trip to Montgomery and Birmingham and Selma.
So before we let you go, just one more question. We know that times are tough for a lot of people, but it is so important if you were able to give back and to help others that you do so. What do you say to encouraging people? As Ben said, maybe somebody's watching this and thought, man, what a great idea. I don't consider myself a philanthropist, but hey, maybe I can help. What do you say to them?
Yeah, I like to remind people that philanthropy is deeper than your pockets and that at the root, The word means love, love of humanity, love of community, love of what it means to be human. So everybody can be a philanthropist. Just give, be generous, and you'll likely gain more ultimately than even the folks who benefit from your generosity in all its forms: time, talent, treasure, the whole spectrum of ways you can give.
It's always the way it works.
Right?
You feel better once you see what you can do, and you feel empowered and more engaged, and only a good thing. Valeda Fullwood, thanks for coming on and speaking to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
More here on WCNC Plus right after this.
I've been talking all morning how we're about to get a lot warmer. Guess what happens when you get warmer? Chance for stronger storms, and that's exactly what we just saw recently. So we are in Alabama right now. So Alabama had a severe thunderstorm sweep through Jefferson County. It brought actually suspected tornadoes. So this is likely some tornado damage. Usually when a tree is split like that, that's a good sign of it, especially like that what you're looking at. That is classic tree damage. I would say minimal EF1 usually when you see something like that. That we actually judge tornadoes by what's called a degree of damage scale. Well, this is just one example of what we potentially could see over the next couple of months as we head into severe weather season. Speaking of, next week is actually severe weather preparedness week that your favorite weather team is going to be educating you throughout the week for damage like this, for severe winds, tornadoes, hail, lightning, flooding, everything you need to be prepared for this coming severe weather season. Hey, you're going to learn something too. All right, so let's get out of the damage and just talk about the rain. We have a couple of fronts that are down towards the south, some lows starting to drive things up. And see that little dash line? That's a trough. So that's still an area of low pressure. As that guides through that, I think that will give us one last little spurt of a little bit of rain later on heading into the early afternoon, so right around lunchtime, we're actually starting to see it developing. Oh, there it is. So right behind that, we're seeing a little bit extra lift right in front of it. So that's going to be right here. Because I think realistically, it's kind of located in here. I'll just draw an arrow. It's located right here. So that's model data that picks up the front. So that's where it looks like the trough is, starting to pick it up. That's going to jog some more rain chances heading into the latter part of this morning into the early part of the afternoon. So let's get right to your futurecast, because the rain that's happening right now is the big story. Our futurecast has done a great job over the last couple of days. So this is my favorite model. This is called the graph. Nice to meet you. This has been really nailing the rain time. I had to grid adjust it slightly, but you're dealing with a little bit of rain really on and off through the next few hours. And it's still, I think it's going to stick around heading into the early afternoon. So that means that foggy, misty look, that light rain triggering your windshield wipers, isn't going to cut off right away. It's really not until the end of the afternoon that we start to see a slightly better look that's happening here. So looking at our extended forecast, I'm really liking where we're going because the 70s are taking over. We literally only have 3 days that are below normal. All the rest above normal, feeling more like April and even May. Huzzah! All right, that's how I'm going to toss the traffic this morning. Good morning, Majestic.
We'll take it. Good morning, everyone. Looking forward to that beautiful weekend weather forecast. But first things first, we have to get through this. At least we can see some of the city skyline right there. Otherwise, I-77 still running a little slow. We would expect that, though, this time of the day. Just before 8:30 this morning, a few things to point out, though, as we bring it back close to Uptown. This is going to be right off of Freedom Drive at Thrift Road, where a new accident was just reported about 5 to 10 minutes ago. We did have one there on Billy Graham, but that was just cleared, so that's good news there. This here, you see that yellow, that's in meaning that those roads are impacted because of this crash here. West Boulevard at Billy Graham Parkway, minimal delays there. At least we don't have a lot of red popping up. As we're looking over towards the outbound lanes of Park Road, they're just starting to clear this, so likely the next time I see you back here, we won't have to talk about this anymore, but that was that injury incident on Archdale Drive. Otherwise, we still have lots to talk about. We'll go over a couple of other accidents when I see you back here soon. Guys.
Majestic things. Today in Black history, back in 1980, Gloria Gaynor's hit I Will Survive won the Grammy for Best Disco Recording. Now, what made this one historic is that the category would be eliminated just after one appearance. It marked the first and only time the Recording Academy recognized disco with its own category at the Grammys. The victory helped launch Gloria Gaynor into global superstardom and solidified her as a disco queen. All right, 8:24 now. We're going to take a quick break. We'll make sure that you keep it right here, streaming live on WCNC Plus. Again, a foggy, a bit of a rainy start to your Friday. Coming up at 8:30, we're going to have another check of your weather and traffic and the day's top headlines.
Good morning, everyone. It's not a fantastic Friday, I'll be straight up, but we are looking at signs of an amazing weekend, and already some of the clouds starting to break further off towards the west. But here's the deal. More rain is starting to move back in. Temperatures in the lower to the mid 50s, and we pretty much stay there all day long. Luckily, this guy is going to skedaddle its way down towards the south. And I think any sort of rain is going to linger into the early afternoon. So that means around lunchtime, you're still going to have some scattered showers, maybe just a sprinkler or two beyond that, but temperatures only in the lower to the mid 50s for the afternoon, high of 56. And guess what? We already did that earlier this morning. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast has this: 68 degrees tomorrow. It will start off cloudy and foggy, but things get a lot better. And then 77 on Sunday. All right, either side of 50 degrees on cloudier Monday and Tuesday, but the 70s waste no time back on Wednesday. All right, let's see what's backing up in our traffic.
I-77 it's that time of the day. Just before 8:30 this morning, you can see it's moving slowly, but hey, at least it's moving. We'll take that. Live camera look look overlooking the city skyline, you can only see about half of it because we are still dealing with quite a bit of fog. Also dealing with a new crash right here, just reported Pineville Matthews Road, westbound lanes at Carmel Drive. Keep this one in mind. We're going to be following everything else for you this morning on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Friday morning. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Let's start off with a look at your weather impact forecast. Chris, not the most impressive start to your Friday, but it's looking up for the weekend.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we have to pay this price in order to get this perfect weekend. Upper 60s, upper 70s. We literally are ending the month of February. There's not many people in the United States can say, oh, my March 1st is going to be 77 degrees. We're doing it well. We have some raindrops here on the lens on our Monroe camera. Our Mr. Spark Carolina camera network is just looking damp wherever you go. 40 degrees in Boone, 47 for you in Hickory, and then the lower to the mid 50s down to the south. It's been a morning that the temperatures haven't moved too much, and it's going to be a day that the temperatures won't move too much. Where we're at right now, we could rebound a little bit later on. I think maybe there's a shot at the 60-degree point to our far southern area, but most likely it's the lower to the mid 50s here on out. We're already starting to ramp up a little bit more rain. We got a little trough that's starting to trigger this guy. This is slowly going to push its way further off towards the east, so that's going to give us a rain chance right around lunchtime. And then after that, we start to dry out. Not a lot of rain has fallen today, either side of the I-85 corridor. A lot of you to the north have really just seen fog, so rain hasn't really been an issue. Maybe some on and off mist here and there, so just a trace of rain, but up to about 0.05 of an inch of rain, up to 0.2 down to the south. And I think there are going to be some localized spots that might get got up to about 1/4 to 1/2 inch, because at one point we saw one burst of rain that was dumping over 1/2 inch of rain per hour. It was small, but still some impacts definitely for some localized locations. Here's 8 o'clock. We're already past that, but then let's get to about the noon hour. We still have some lingering rain. The heaviest rain is out of here at that point. And then once you get to about 2, I think we just have maybe a very light area of mist, maybe some sprinkles. But at that point, you don't just feel that moisture that's all around you. And then overnight, we just deal with the clouds. By Saturday, some of us starting to see some brightness as the sun's rising up, but a lot of us will have a cloudy start. Not super energetic for your Saturday, but this is for you to save your energy. So maybe you can have a lazy couple of hours if you get up around this time, and then before you know it, the sun is out. It's time for you to get out, because This is going to be a great forecast. Today, the winds are blowing, gusting up to 20 miles per hour. I think these are going to simmer down through the afternoon, and they start to change a little bit as well. Lower to the mid-50s, as I already mentioned. Lows, not a big deal, only down to 47 tomorrow morning, but 68 degrees and 77. I was talking about the spring calendar as far as what our averages are. May 1st, the average high is, you guessed it, 77 degrees, or maybe you didn't guess it. I didn't ask you a question. Recent rainfall, though, adding up even this morning, it's 1.11 inches of rain accumulated over the past week or so. That's great. But we need a whole lot more, because according to where our drought is, and again, we have a severe to extreme drought across much of our area, we need at least 10 to 12 inches of rain to overcome this over the next month. But realistically, to do it over the next 5 weeks, this is a video that I put online, we have to really get 2 inches of rain per week. And I'm letting you know this next 7-day period is not showing that. Even though we see these 20%, it's not that soaking all day rain that we truly need. So this weekend's great. We will drop to either side of 50 degrees, and before you know it, low to the mid-70s coming back, and those 70s look to stick around heading into the first weekend of March. All right, I'm done talking about weather. Let's see how traffic's rolling this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Well, much of the same. We still have just very wet, soggy conditions, kind of gloomy weather heading out the door this morning. This is I-77 out near Woodlawn, where, yes, roads are flowing just fine, starting to get a little busier even still, even though we're just after 8:30 this morning. Here's something new for you. It's out near Harrisburg. It's going to be on Harris-Houston Road, southbound specifically, being impacted by that at University City Boulevard. Not too far away is this one here, Eastway Drive at the plaza, mainly green, so hopefully that's getting cleared here soon. And then this right here is Pineville Matthews Road at Carmel Road. I mentioned that one just about 10 minutes ago, and it's gotten a little bit worse. The Selwyn Ave crash that I also mentioned, cleared, but we still have those delays as they're actually moving the car. I just saw a picture of that one. And then Freedom Drive is good to go, guys.
Thanks. 8:34 now. This time tomorrow, those long anticipated I-485 express lanes will open to traffic here in Charlotte. This project creates an extra lane on 485 in each direction between I-77 and Independence Boulevard. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live for us this morning in Ballantyne to walk us through some of the changes that drivers will notice. This is part of my morning commute. A lot of people use 485.
That's right, and at last, the commute between South Charlotte and Matthews is about to get a lot easier. You might still see cones like this along the highway today, but not for long, as construction is finally done, and these new express lanes are set to open at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So that means the black tarps that we've been seeing covering these signs are finally coming down, and those electronic boards will soon be switched on. These new express lanes stretch about 18 miles from I-77 to US 74 and are designed to cut down on travel times. Now, just like with other toll lanes, how much you pay will depend on your vehicle length, time of day, and day of the week. Within the first year, the lanes will shift to dynamic pricing, meaning rates will change based on traffic levels, with the goal of keeping cars moving at least 45 miles per hour. Drivers with an NC Quick Pass will save about 50%, while those without one will pay more. Now, this is a part of a $319 million project that started back in 2019. It also included other road projects in the South Charlotte and Matthews area, all meant to improve travel times, as this is, again, a very busy area for people to commute. So it has been long awaited. And today here in Ballantyne, NCDOT and the North Carolina Turnpike Authority, they're meant to meet with state and local leaders to commemorate the opening of these express lanes. That's at 10 a.m. this morning, but these lanes opening tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Live in Ballantyne, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Destiny, thanks. You and your neighbors can now apply for a major state grant that would pay for things like bike paths, sidewalks, and local connections to transit in your community. NCDOT is accepting applications for the 2026 Multimodal Planning Grant Program. One local nonprofit, Sustain Charlotte, says this could be a really good thing, especially for smaller communities. But they also say it's an opportunity for state leaders to make sure our roads are safe for everybody.
Doing the same of what we've been doing is not working, and we're growing. And when you have all of that, you can't be doing the same thing you've been doing and expecting it to change things.
Applications are open through April 13th.
Recently obtained court documents are shining some light on what could have led to a school bus crash 2 weeks ago in Gastonia. You may remember this when 48 students and the school bus driver were on this bus when it crashed near Jenkins Road. The bus driver told police a child stood up and distracted her, causing her to lose control. That's when she says the bus went off the road and crashed into the trees. 14 children were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. There have been no charges in this crash. 4 men convicted of operating a drug ring in York County have learned their fate. All 4 pleaded guilty to drug distribution charges. They'll spend more than 7 years in prison. Federal investigators say officials confiscated more than 26 pounds of meth and 22 pounds of fentanyl as part of the operation they were running. With bigger tax refunds expected this year, scammers are trying to get in on the action.
WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg warns us of a new tax scam going around, so you're not left asking, where's the money?
Early filing data from the IRS shows the average tax refund is about 14% higher so far this year compared to last year. But there are several scams going around to try to get your money.
The big, beautiful bill signed into law last year opened up more opportunities for people to get more money in their pockets this tax season.
But we are expecting not only bigger refunds, but a lot bigger refunds.
Mark Stieber with Jackson Hewitt Tax Services says this year, many taxpayers can claim new deductions from tips and overtime income and an extra $6,000 senior bonus for those 65 and older. But with more money on the table, it could also mean more scammers trying to take advantage.
If they know that people are getting more money now than in the past, especially if for some reason they owe back taxes or they feel like they can trick people into saying, you know, I can get you the best refund, the biggest refund, I'll get you all these breaks, maybe these government programs, but you have to pay this bigger sum up front. Oftentimes that's a scam as well.
The Federal Trade Commission warns of scammers emailing or texting you saying they have processed or approved your tax refund claim. They then ask you to verify your identity by sending a link asking for your personal information. Juliana O'Rourke with the Better Business Bureau says don't click on the link.
So no one from the IRS is going to contact you out of the blue. If anything, they'll send you paper in the mail to explain what's going on with your tax situation.
She says if you think you are being scammed, contact the IRS directly.
They're pressuring you to pay, whether you owe back taxes, they want to give you this refund, they're asking for your information. Hang up, find the contact information for the actual IRS and call them.
If for any reason you give a scammer your information, O'Rourke says freeze your credit and report it to the IRS, the FTC, and the BBB. Megan Bragg.
The Carolina Panthers are teaming up with local Planet Fitness clubs to boost youth wellness in Gastonia. Today, they will unveil enhanced strength and cardio spaces at the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Gaston and the Bradley Teen Center. The workout areas feature new fitness equipment donated by Planet Fitness. Certified trainers will be on site to show students how to use the equipment.
It's happening today, the Rock Hill community honoring an icon. The Welcome Center at Northwestern High School will now be named the Samuel Foster Welcome Center. It's in honor of Samuel Foster Sr., who was the school's first principal. In 1971, he became the first African-American principal of a fully integrated public high school in the state. Today's ceremony set for 11 this morning.
Hall of Famer Patsy Neal is being celebrated. We'll show you why her legacy still matters. That's next. The time is now 8:43. The Charlotte Hornets have now won 3 games straight, keeping their playoff hopes alive as they continue their push toward the postseason. Last night, the Hornets dominated the Indiana Pacers with a 133-109 victory. Up next, they return home to face the Portland Trailblazers, where another tough contest awaits as both teams are looking to build some late-season confidence. Hornets rookie Con Knipple continues to shine in his breakout season, breaking the NBA's rookie record for most three-pointers in a single year. He knocked down his 207th three against the Pacers last night, surpassing the previous mark that was set by Keegan Murray, and he did it in just 59 games. The rookie sharpshooter now leads the league in made threes and is firmly in the Rookie of the Year conversations. Keep going, Con. All right, local sports pioneer and Women's Basketball Hall of Famer Patsy Neal is being honored for a lifetime of history-making achievements, all for paving the way for women's athletics in a time when those opportunities were rare. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris sat down with her to hear more about the honor.
Long before Title IX and before women's sports filled arenas, Patsy Neal was making history on the basketball court. And now her impact is being felt and recognized.
As far as your trophy case, where does all this stuff go for you?
This has to go at the top of the list because it came from my home state.
At 87 years old, Neal, who lives in Matthews, was inducted into the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame, the latest honor in a career that represented one of the earliest chapters of women's athletics in America.
I've always enjoyed basketball, and I never ever expected anything like this to happen.
Neal was a trailblazer in women's basketball at a time when scholarships, professional leagues, and national attention were virtually non-existent. Her resume includes 3 AAU All-American selections and a national free throw title in 1957 when she made 48 of 50 shots.
And at that time, they were one of the few states that had sports for women because Title IX has not come into existence. So the only sport they did have was basketball. And we played games right before the guys played, so the support system was fantastic. This was a '64 World Basketball Championship in Peru. And
Neal also represented the United States on the world stage, helping the U.S. win gold in the 1959 Pan American Games and serving as captain of the U.S. team at the 1964 World Championship.
I got to carry the USA flag. I guess that's the high point of anything that ever happened to me.
While she focuses now on life after basketball, she hopes her success on the court leads to success for future generations to come.
Learning to adjust to failure is just as important as learning to adjust to success. In fact, sometimes it's more important because if you can adjust, you don't quit. And just persevering oftentimes makes the difference between whether you're going to win or you're going to lose.
Now, Patsy Neal was already inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, but says that this honor is especially meaningful for a Georgia native who changed the game. In Matthews, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Congratulations to her. All right, here is a look at the current radar. We've been talking about the fog and the rain. You see the mix there, heavy at times. So moving out of the way and setting us up for a good weekend. Chris is going to have more on your forecast next.
Hi, that's Larry Sprinkle. It's Friday, and the big question, what to do this weekend. One place to go is the Shield Museum of Natural History and the Lynn Planetarium over in Gastonia. Big event going on this weekend. It's the Fossil Fair. Fun time for the whole family. Lots of hands-on things for kids and adults to do at the Fossil Fair. It's Saturday. That's tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can meet scientists, go on a mini fossil dig, mine for gemstones, special planetarium show, and once again, lots of hands-on activities at the Shield Museum's Fossil Fair over in Gastonia. You can log on to shieldmuseum.org for tickets and information. That's shieldmuseum.org for all the information. The Shield Museum Fossil Fair, it's tomorrow. One great thing to do this weekend. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
I mentioned this earlier, but we only have less than 2 days of meteorological winter. Officially on Sunday, we averaged 60 degrees, and then we're calling it the spring season. I know, right? And it actually feels more like this on March 1st. We're going to be at 77 degrees. That's more like May 1st. But now that winter is almost over and the book is almost closed, I want to show you some of the top rankings that I was able to dig up. So our winter rankings for 2025 and 2026, December, January, and February. The top spot, and you didn't realize it, I misspoke about this earlier, but 83 degrees, where we just hit recently, that wonderful day before we saw eventually that fall down. That was the warmest day in February history, but also the warmest day that we have ever seen during the winter months. So the warmest day, you didn't even realize that. Also, this was the 9th driest winter, and that's the reason why we're under such a bad drought status. And most of this came in one day, but it's also the 14th snowiest winter. We had 12.2 inches of total snow. Now, of course, we could still have some snow heading into spring. And the warmest winter, well, not really an impressive rank. We were the 50th rank, but what I think is most interesting about this is that we had such epic cool downs that we dropped down to 10 degrees. That's the coldest we've been since 2022. We had a prolonged period of cold, but we had so many warm spikes, like, if you remember, Christmas Day, a record, days preceding and following Christmas, records. We had so many big spikes to the record levels that it actually warmed us up to the 50th rank instead of actually being one of the coldest winters. Because if you remove any of those spikes, the 10 spikes that we had well into the 70s and even the 80s at one time, we would actually probably be closer to the top 20 coldest. That's how big of an influence that they had. So we're almost closing that record book. I always love to be your stat man. Ski bump up bump. And another thing as we're transitioning into spring is the allergens, and it's already started, and many of you have already been preparing, taking the early allergy medications, but now we're starting to see new trees pop up. We have a medium level for your tree levels because of the rain recently, and now because of that rain, we have now a medium threshold for mold, but cedar, elm, pine, and juniper, alder look to be the big 5, but I could add maple onto the mix as well. Those are the 6 ones that are really popping up. So today we're at a moderate level. Even though it's so damp, a lot of times this washes away, but it's very light, so it's really not doing too much. And then once you get to the weekend, we have an 8 and a 9.5, so that's bringing us to our highest level of the season. Winds aren't especially strong. If we had a strong gust at like 30 miles per hour, that strong push, 1, we would be well into the 80s, but 2, we would actually have a better shot at even hit that higher threshold. So just letting you know, allergy season, you're going to see a lot more of these, and I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're even going to start to see some signs of yellow, because that comes from pine trees. First time that we've seen that. All right, last look right here on WCNC Plus of our morning commute with Majestic.
All right, good morning, everyone. A very damp start to the day. We are seeing those impacts out on those area roadways as well. Let's take a look at I-85 here. This is mile marker 46 out near Mallard Creek. You can tell just by those cars that are driving how wet it is outside. So it's one of those days where you just need to drive a little bit slower, try not to be in a rush. That always makes things more difficult. That's where the roads are going to be the wettest, really southeast of Uptown. We're seeing some actual widespread rain from Lancaster out towards Rockingham. Very spotty still right around 485, the loop here. And again, those impacts out on those roads because of the rain, absolutely. We're seeing it here where we just have had reports of a new crash. South Tryon Street inbound. It's approaching Westinghouse Boulevard and it's backed up to Carowinds Boulevard. So you can see all of that yellow. And another new one here, Billy Graham Parkway at West Boulevard. 2 accidents just happening within the last 10 minutes. So make sure you do plan accordingly for your Friday morning commute.
Approaching 8:55, we need to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep it right here, streaming live on WCNC Plus. At the top of the hour, our Jane Monreal takes over. You see her there in the bottom left side of your screen. She's getting ready for the live broadcast. Coming up on WCNC Plus in the 9 o'clock hour, they're going to be discussing combating rising insurance costs as well as mental health suicide awareness. Again, streaming live here on WCNC Plus.
Oh, welcome everybody. We have a wet start to the day, 52 degrees. This on and off rain is going to be with us for the rest of this morning, joining us for the lunchtime. So soggy sandwiches, not what you'd like to see. Temperatures in the lower 50s now remain for the afternoon as well. Here's what it looks like. Futurecast blowing that rain in and around heading into the early afternoon. It's not until later on that it's just an overcast sky with maybe sprinkles. So not a fantastic Friday. We will jog these clouds into your Saturday morning, but then before you know it, the sunshine is with us. Your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast brings us an amazing weekend. To end February, we're in the upper 60s. To begin the first day of March, we have 77 degrees, feeling more like May. We will see a drop in the temperatures either side of 50 degrees Monday and Tuesday, but the 70s waste no time. They're back on Wednesday. All right, Majestic has another look at your morning commute.
I-485 looks like this for our Friday morning. What a gloomy start to the day. Hey, at least we have a great weekend to look forward to, right? This is out near Mallard Creek. It's just going to be one of those days where you just need to drive a little bit slower. That's probably the easiest thing that you can do. You can see really where the rain is still impacting those area roadways, especially southeast of Charlotte. This crash is still ongoing right here with delays forming South Tryon Street as you're approaching Westinghouse Boulevard.